Hey there, I'm Cynthia and welcome to The Dinner Fix, where I help answer the question, what's for dinner? Today I'm making carnitas, which if you're not familiar is a pretty classic Mexican dish, really popular in kind of the northwestern part of the country in the state of Michoacan. And what it consists of, if you're not familiar, is chunks of pork that have been slow cooked in their own fat, not unlike the French method of making duck confit, where you pretty much fry duck in duck fat. So we're going to be making that today. It's traditionally cooked in a large kind of copper pot in huge vats, and it can be found most often as a filling in tacos, but north of the border you'll find it a lot as a filling for burritos, for tortas, which is a Mexican sandwich, and tacos, of course, or just served on a plate alongside rice, beans, and tortillas. Today we'll be making this in a slow cooker because we don't have a big copper vat nor the time to kind of stir that constantly to make those. But this is going to be really tasty, really simple recipe. I know sometimes I say that and maybe it's not so simple, but I promise you, you can make this at home. So enough talking. First thing we're going to want to do, I have here pork fat, aka lard. We're going to melt this. I have here a slow cooker, and we're just going to add this here. I have a slow cooker set to high heat. We're going to add our pork fat, and we're just going to allow this to melt. And I know what you're thinking, that's a lot of fat. These are not going to be greasy. Most of that fat is going to be left behind. We're not going to be eating it, so don't tune me out. So just going to cover that up, set that aside. And then let's talk about our pork. I have here some pork, and this is pork shoulder that has been cut down to about 2-inch by 2-inch chunks. You can certainly buy a whole pork shoulder. You'll want to get a boneless one. Just cut it up yourself. You can also have your butcher do it for you. But what we're going to do at this point is we're going to take some salt and we're just going to season this pretty liberally. With our pork fat melted, it is time to cook our carnitas. And as you can see here, what initially may have seemed like a lot of fat really isn't that much. I mean, this is maybe, I don't even know if this is like 1/2 inch deep. So it's not that much fat. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our chunks of pork in the slow cooker in a single layer as best you can. Just kind of playing some Tetris to get it all to fit. Really excited about eating this. I'm actually already hungry, so the thought of having to wait for this to cook is killing me. I'm gonna have to have a little snack to get me through the next few hours. All right, and that is the last chunk. And you'll notice that the fat levels actually come up right as we added the meat and the fat's displaced. The fat level's risen to the point where it just barely covers all of the pork, which is exactly what you want. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to clamp a lid on this. This is already set to high. We're going to let this cook for 3 hours, and that's really all there is to it, at least for now. So in 3 hours, I'll show you what this is looking like and how to finish this up. All right, so it's been 3 hours since we began our journey on the road to carnitas. And these are done. You want to take a look at that, see how the fat's bubbling up, the meat's brown, totally cooked. There are parts where it's even started to crisp. What we're gonna do now to finish crisping this, and I will turn this slow cooker off because these are, like I said, done. I have here a rimmed baking sheet that I've lined with foil, and then I put a rack in here. The foil's just for easy cleanup. I'm going to, let me make some room on the counter. I'm going to transfer all the pork onto the baking sheet, and then we're going to, ooh, that's falling apart. You might want to use, I'm using tongs for this. Might want to use a slotted spoon though, because like I said, these chunks are kind of falling apart as I'm pulling them out. But you'll want to leave behind as much of the fat as possible as you are draining this, because we don't want to eat all that fat. Now, you might be wondering, what do you do with all that fat that's left over? You can, once it's, cooled off somewhat but isn't solidified yet, you can run it through cheesecloth and then just strain it into a container, store it in the fridge. You could use it to make another batch of carnitas. You can, use it anywhere you might use fat. French fries, really frying anything. It's gonna be really yummy. So yeah, don't feel like you need to throw all this out just because you used it once. You can use it over and over again. So I'm just trying to get all this pork out, and then, any excess fat that you're not able to get out is just gonna drain down below the rack. Got about half of it on the rack at this point, and it smells amazing in here, just FYI. All right, that's the last of it. So back on that. All right, so we've got our yummy, yummy pork on our rack. This is gonna go into a broiler, and we're gonna broil it until it begins to crisp on the outside. This is gonna happen really quickly. Probably won't take more than 2 minutes, so you're gonna wanna keep an eye on it to ensure it doesn't burn. Now, would you get a look at that? Those look absolutely delicious. Again, you can, serve these in a burrito, in a torta, on a plate with rice and beans. I'm going to be serving these in tacos. So I've actually, while those were kind of browning under the broiler, I've assembled kind of the usual suspects when it comes to tacos. I've got some chopped onion, some chopped cilantro. For this, you're going to want some sort of citrus or vinegar because of the pork and the fattiness in there. You need something acidic to cut that fat. So lime juice works wonders. You could also use like pickled onions, pickled jalapenos. That would all work great. And then I also made a homemade salsa taquera or taco sauce. I am providing a link below with the link to a demo for this, as well as, of course, the recipe to the carnitas. But let's dig in. I'm very excited to eat, and I'm not making a whole lot of sense because I'm so excited to eat. My tummy is growling. So I'm gonna take a couple of these smaller pieces, and this is just like fall apart tender. I'm just gonna take some of that pork. I mean, and this is gonna feed quite a few people. These will keep well for a couple of days in the fridge, so don't feel the need to scarf them all down at once, but you may want to. All right, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of onion on that. Whoa. A little bit of cilantro, salsa, and of course our acid, the lime juice. All right, let's give this a taste. Really good. I should have taken a smaller bite, but that's really, really good. And as you saw, super simple to make. So, hope you try this one at home. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Enjoy.